Hello, it is I, Hadara, and I made this dress, and a video about the dress, and that's all I have to say. To make the pattern for this dress, I traced another dress, which I happen to be wearing in the video. I don't know why I thought this was a good idea because I never wear this dress out, but whatever. It's important to use a zigzag stitch or another stitch that stretches when you're using elasticized fabric, or else when the elastic in the fabric stretches, your stitches will rip and break. Pinning is a must when it comes to elasticized fabric. If you are pulling on the fabric while sewing it, it'll create weird ripply waves and look horrible. A Sharpie is my weapon of choice when it comes to tracing things onto fabric, and if you know how a Sharpie works, you're gonna think, huh, that's stupid, and you are right. Using a Sharpie has been quite disastrous for me in the past. You can't erase it. But I still do it, and I don't have a good reason or explanation. What can you do? For anything with exposed stitches, I used a twin needle, and if you're wondering what that stitch looks like, look at the bottom of your t-shirt. It has two straight lines on top and then a zigzaggy pattern on the bottom. The initial pattern that I used for the gloves was too tight and was cutting off my finger circulation, so I decided to cut it up and make a new pattern with it. I just fanned it out a little bit so that the, I guess you'd say, finger pits were less squished. On the initial trial that I did for the gloves, the fabric was moving around a lot, so when I went about doing it on my good copy, I flattened two pieces of fabric together and pinned it rather than cutting it out because the fabric wouldn't move around that way. It was really tricky to get in between the finger pits. It was a lot of pivoting, but ultimately it did work. If you're getting into sewing and you're wondering what things to buy, I highly suggest a rotary cutter. It will change your life. I love sewing and creating clothing, but it's probably one of the most stressful things I put myself through voluntarily. It's also really rewarding, but when it doesn't work out and you have to stitch rip an entire project, it really takes a toll on you. I know I just told you to buy a rotary cutter, but you should also invest in a good stitch ripper. You'll thank me later. Okay, so now that the sewing is all done, it is time for the official reveal. I know you may have seen it earlier because I showed it to you earlier, but this is for the ribbon cutting reveal, which makes it 10 times more special. Okay, I am definitely not holding my camera with my feet, so if the camera moves, it shouldn't. But I have my ribbon and I have my comparatively stupidly large scissors. Because it's a ceremony, this is what you gotta do. And if you're like, Hadara, maybe you don't have smaller scissors. I do. I carry around tiny foldable scissors. So yeah, if you ever need to cut something, like... Oh, funny story. One time I had to cut my friend's sweater out of his braces because he got it stuck during a lecture. But this is not that story. And I didn't use scissors, I used a knife. Okay, ribbons. Boom, official, reveal time.